Go to, no, let me do that again. Hello, it's your girl, Sheila L. Brown. Well, WFO has been on the platform for 60 years. We are celebrating 60 years in the industry. December the 4th, 1961 is when WUFO hit the urban market in Buffalo, New York. So what I'm doing is behind the scenes with all my employees. And the first one up is none other than Mr. Leon Pedigree. How are you, sir?
I'm well.
Good.
It's good, as they say, it's good to be here. I heard some black humor
Yes.
the other day, and the fellows were talking. And during the course of the conversation, the man said, "Well, you're 10 toes up." He said, No. He said, "Well, you're standing on those 10 toes." And I mean, like, our humor is straight to the point. So it's great to be
10 toes up.
10 toes.
Okay.
Standing on those toes.
10 toes up. I like it. Well, you know what, Lee? As we go behind the scenes of radio, you have done an extensive career in radio, not just here at WFO. You started out at another radio station in the city of Buffalo, which is one of the biggest towers in Buffalo in the urban market.
Right.
Then you went over to Toronto where other people wasn't going over to Toronto. Tell me a little bit about your career.
Well, I started working overnights in the Rand building at Joy, and it was kind of rough, and people kept telling me, stay, hang in there. And I left Joy and went to WBLK July 4th, 1976. And when I first got in, having been in radio for a while, I knew what I wanted to do, or I thought I knew what I wanted to do. And when you first get in, you're the rookie, you get picked on.
Yeah.
But I did learn there's a lot that goes on. At that point, I was kind of excluded from what I've learned. Goes on behind the scenes in terms of putting together programming.
Okay.
And my first goal was production, learn the basics of production. I took a lot of ribbing and practical jokes from people who played jokes on me, telling me that artists were angry about the spots I produced, which wasn't true. They hadn't even heard the spots.
That's right.
And I stayed there until they moved. Actually, they were not on. They were on Franklin Street. They moved into the Rand building again. They came back to the Rand building. Before they came back to the Rand building, they were in the Ansonia Center.
That's right.
And I left there in '91. Went on to join with John Young, and we started the first full-time gospel radio station. Stayed there for a while. Then came to Wufo in the year 2000. Still always in programming. Fascinated by sales, and I remember working with you, and I said, Vision Multimedia, I'd like to work for that. And eventually that happened. Mm-hmm. What has happened is I do a lot more of what goes behind the scenes. And one of the things about working here is I've seen sales.
Yes.
I've seen production. I've seen decisions made that I normally wouldn't. Because when you work in broadcasting, you don't get to meet the owner. You don't get to meet the program director. You don't want to meet the station manager because either he's going to hire you or fire you.
That's right.
So, but in this instance, this is a great working environment. You will learn the ABCs of broadcasting. And I was thinking about it this past week. It's sort of like a football team. Everybody knows who Josh Allen is, but there is a whole army of people behind those 11 guys on that field that make that organization work. There's planning.
Yes.
There's marketing. There's definitely promotion. Mm-hmm. And those are the things that I'm learning now. I'm still learning. And one of the things that excites me about still being here is that I learn something different every day.
Yes.
Okay. And that's very, very big because if you talk to the really great ones, they'll tell you, never get to the point where you shut your ears.
There you go.
Because you'll stop growing. So I'm still growing. I'm finding out, it'll take a lot to run a radio station.
Yeah. And you said something there when radio, no 2 days are ever the same.
No.
Right? So that's the great part of radio. Mm-hmm. That's the great part of this industry. That no 2 days will ever be the same. And if you stop learning, then it's
yeah.
time to get out the industry.
So,
Because this industry is forever changing every day. What we did last year this time, Lee, when we were sitting down planning what our year was going to be like, we couldn't do that again this year.
no.
Because this COVID came in. It changed the way.
You had to change the game.
Right, like that.
It made us change.
I mean, instantly on March 15th,
Yeah.
we had to change on the way that we ran the radio station. So that's why I'm so hands-on. That's why I'm not an owner where you only hear me on the phone when we're doing staff meetings. Now, I'm going to see you in your face every day. I am going to protect my product because at the end of the day, this is like a baby to me, right? So when I started in 1986, purchased it in 2013, I am the same person that I was when I worked for the company versus owning it. The same.
So
I'm
there's
just
a
on the
work
other
ethic.
side of the desk.
So the work ethic.
There
is
you
still
go.
there,
That's
know.
right. It's still there.
And what I find fascinating about this place, and you were talking about nothing's the same every day. I was talking to some television people, and they were saying, "Don't you get bored?" I said, "Well, you don't work where I work." I have met everybody but Obama and Trump.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Schumer called. We
Yes.
had a conversation with Schumer. The majority leader of the legislature, 3 governors. We now have senators on. We had senators on. All of the council members. The mayor, who's on every day. So this is not the same as actually it's not the same as any other radio station.
That's right.
Because I can say that no other radio station in this market gets those kind of people coming through their door on a consistent basis.
That's right. Because you know what it is? We have pride ourselves to be the station that's in the community every day. We're doing something. We have a promotional calendar. We're a promotion-driven station. We come out of one promotion into another one and still doing the day-to-day operation at the same time, right? And on Saturdays, we're the only station in the city of Buffalo where we have Express Yourself Saturday, where we start from 7 in the morning all the way to 12 noon with a different host where people can call in and express themselves. So, Lee, where do you see radio going? We have continued to come on a cutting edge. You know, the station in 1961, when our ancestors decided to bring this to the forefront of the urban community in 1961, it was on the AM. Then when I purchased it, I made it FM. Then I did digital. So now you can hear us anywhere in the world. Now we have our podcast. What do you see next with radio?
The bottom line is still content is king.
Yes.
What you have on those airwaves is what is going to make people either stay with you when they find you or go and find you. But more and more people are turning to the devices. They're turning to the laptops. They're turning to YouTube. They're doing podcasts. And the advantage that radio, I think, has is it still reaches 95% of the people in the country every week. Particularly urban radio. It reaches, the 45 million, it reaches 30 million. That's right. Every single week. So it's got to get to the point where, I hate to say it, we're on YouTube too.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we are. Our skills have taken us to another place in the industry where we continue to learn, we continue to train, and that's why when they come in the conference room, I have all these positive affirmations up on the wall.
Now, you said that we were heard in Germany. That's very true. We both have a mutual friend that lives in Germany.
Yep, Kimbrough.
What will happen with this facility, because of my experience being on the air, there is no station with this format in the United States, especially black-owned.
No.
So when people discover they have this on an international basis, the stronger we get, and I'm hoping our signal will get stronger, you will see a lot more online activity directed here. A lot more. I'm amazed. People call me from Milwaukee, Atlanta, California, Ohio. When they hear us, they say, wow. And they're hearing us because there's somebody there that they are interested in.
That's right.
When they hear us, they say, wow, I've never heard of that. We don't have that here. Okay? And these are black folk. Right. We don't got that here. What we have, if you took it to, doesn't exist in New York, exist in Atlanta in a very small fashion. There's not a lot of revenue behind it. Exist in Chicago in a small fashion. Exist in DC because of the population there. You have a highly intelligent, very wealthy population living in Washington. But in the vast majority of the country,
right.
Not
You have to catch it here. You got to catch it on power965radio.com.
Oh, yeah.
So, Lee, what advice would you give to a young person just graduating in communication, and they're thinking one thing, because all they think is going across the mic.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand all of the pots that it takes to make radio work.
Number one, don't confine yourself to the mic.
Yes.
Because there's a lot going on that's behind it. There's people here that you can't see that are a part of this. Number two, don't think of yourself as airtime. You are a communicator. And you want to figure out how to reach, who is your audience, number one? Who are you talking to? But how do you reach them? They're going to reach for you because they might like the song you're playing, or they may like to talk. But when you open that microphone, you want to know who you're talking to, and you're one-on-one. And you want to learn to write. It's a difficult thing. I'm still working on my writing skills, but learn to write, because if you don't have it on paper, there are very few of us who can just rattle it off.
That's right.
You know?
And that's why prepping is so key. That's why when we have our jock meetings and our staff meetings, I tell the jocks, don't open up that mic without prepping.
Unless you know where you're going.
Yeah, because a lot of people can't come off the grid like that.
I want to add something that I've learned because we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. The guys that we think were legends, I've actually found out wrote down everything they said before they were alive.
That's right.
The New York City jocks that came from Buffalo,
yes,
they wrote it down.
That's right.
Gary wrote it down. We probably will get a chance to get that from Gary in person one day, but I know Frank wrote his down. And coming in behind Charles Tilley at the time, I didn't realize when I came in behind him that he was writing it down. He wasn't coming off the top of his head every morning. He had sat down and written what he was going to say. So writing is really, really important.
Well, Lee, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story, share your journey with our audience. We'll have you back once again because there's so much more that we got to dig out of you. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast and behind the scenes of Vision Multimedia Group. Every day we're going to be interviewing another one of our employees to see what their job descriptions are. And I ask you to visit SheilaLBrown.com. That's SheilaLBrown.com. We have some amazing bangos to get you ready for the bango brunch. And then also our books are there. We have some Black Friday specials. So go to SheilaLBrown.com. I'll see you on the next podcast.